Welcome. Today we're going to look at the auras overview here. So GWL Pixel ARPG. Go ahead, follow, go to the scene, double click to get your demo scene. So here in the demo room, I'm going to take a look at the player. And then if we come over here to its components, we're going to see a few things. Things we're going to look at today are the aura user and the aura receiver. So first things first, a receiver could be placed on anything. And I got one here for the player. And also if you go to the enemy here, there is an enemy aura one. Basically what it does is acting like a tag. The documentation shows you how to make more groups. They're just enum values here. And what it means then you can make auras affect only certain groups. So looking inside the aura receiver here component, all it does, currently it's modifying stats. So as a reference to that, and also defines its group. Quick little easy class here. Implements iTakeOr, so you can go ahead and just type that interface on your own classes. Enough about that. Let's go to the Aura user. So this is when you have someone who can use auras, so like the player when they hit like 1 or 2 and they turn an aura on. And they have this controller. So let's go to the controller here. I clicked on that. Click here to open it. And we'll see the controller object here. So it just says some data. You could save it as a JSON if you like. Some unique ID information, starting auras if you want them to start with particular auras, and then equipped and learned cap. So this is how many auras that they can learn in total. This is how many they could equip at a time, like on their hotbars. This is the thing that's going to control the turning on and off of auras and making sure that all that works nice. So we'll go here to the actual aura. So if I click here, it's another scriptable object. I'll take a look at it. So this is for the max HP increase. So again, you could save these off. It's got identifying information at the top, a description. So this is a prefab. Here, I'm just using this as the visual. So if I just hit play, max HP is going to be that one right there. So my HP is increased, and this shows the radius around it. And I could hit the number 1 to turn it on and off. Okay. So that's this aura we're looking at here. This prefab, that's that pink line, just a line renderer. We got aura category. So only one aura per category can be active at a time. This is a way how you can have stacking auras. So auras 0 and 1, you could have 2 of them at the same time. So just remember, per category, only one could be active. Unique ID, that's for saving. So we're just going to go here to aura logics. So this is the actual logic. As you see here, it's an array. You can do many. You could have a mix of increase max HP, and if I want, I can also add the regen health by 5. And now it'll do both of those things. But let's go ahead and lower that. We'll take a look at the logics in a moment. We have the aura groups, so that's the groups it's affected by. In this case, it's just friendly. You could do enemies, num, or you can make your own groups, so you could have as many groups as you want. We have two things now, pulses and AoE. So AoE, I'm going to hit play again, is this. It's going to do a circular radius outward from the user. In this case, it has layers to check, so if there's any users within this radius that can also have an I take aura on it, then it's going to apply that aura on it, right? So you can have area effect auras. You can determine what layers you want it to check. You can also do the collider type, so you could do 2D or just regular. Radius, and then how often to check when someone has entered it or exited the area. It's AoE, area of effect, and the other one is pulses. So pulses, I'll switch over to 2. The prefab here indicates the pulse, and actually this is on the regen, so switch over to the regen. So I clicked on regen here. You see you are on a different aura. Still the same category, so that's why we can only have one of those active at a time. Here's the logic. It also does friendly, but now with pulses, and it does it every 1 second. So you see here, this is indicating Every 1 second, it's gonna, well, in this case, regen mana. I think it's 5 per second. And it's also AoE. So if anybody else is within that radius, they'll also get that effect as well. And since these are scriptable objects here, right, this is that same aura, I can just go and say, okay, I want an aura 2. Okay, 2 looks nicer than the 1. You can also change how often it pulses. So you can do something like nice and slow. Or you could just go back to whatever it was. All right, so now last thing, let's look at the logics. So those with the ability system, this kind of runs in that same type of system where it's going to do these behavior logics. And currently we have this one we're doing. So regen amount per tick, it's 1, and mana. We could switch it to a different resource if we want. These are just some included examples here. And they're actually down into 3 categories. Of course, you can make your own. So how is this thing made? Let's go take a look at the regen resource. Well, actually, maybe we should look at the buff stat first. So we double click that. So this is all that's happening here. You could choose here, it made it so you could choose it in Inspector what stat and how much the amount. And then these are the 2 methods that you're overriding. So basically, the on-take aura, we're going to do the buff stat thing. We're going to pass in the type and the amount. So the amount to remove and the amount to add. This inherits from Aura Logic, so if you want to make your own, you also inherit from Aura Logic. It's a scriptable object with 2 abstract things, applying and remove. Just make sure you fill those in there. Take a look at these examples here. So we have 3 different types here, which I think covers a lot. Buffing stats, like attributes, and increasing the max resource. So this is like that plus 25 to max health. So here it's just calling into this, and this is on the interface. So if you wanted to have a different kind of functionality for your auras, you could write it here on the interface. And then the last one is the regen, which then we have an apply magic, apply, and then remove. In this case, it doesn't have a remove effect since it's applying every 1 second. Yeah, it doesn't have to remove anything once you turn off the aura. So that's the aura system in a nutshell. So you could find all those examples here. Of course, scripts and auras, but also data and auras has already got scriptable object examples for you, controllers, logics, and then the different types of the auras here. Okay, so there you go. And auras here even persist across scene. It'll remember. All right. Well, thank you and have a good day.